Hello, I'm Dan Gable. It's my honor to introduce the Dan Gable ASICS Wrestling Clinic DVD series from Championship Productions. This clinic has assembled some of the finest coaches and presenters the sport has to offer. They will provide you with techniques, strategies, drills, and philosophies that will help you and your team get better. I'd like to introduce to you Jeff Swenson, athletic director and former head wrestling coach at Augsburg College. In 25 seasons at Augsburg, Jeff has led his team to 10 NCAA Division III championships. Jeff has coached 39 national champions. He has been named NWCA National Coach of the Year 6 times and is a member of the NCAA Division III Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame. As an athlete at Augsburg, Jeff earned NAIA All-American honors 3 times and won the national title in his weight class in 1979.
The session is entitled Winning the Whistle. I'm going to do just a few things on top. I'm going to spend the majority of the session today on the mat and on bottom. But it is important to us to win the whistle wherever we are. Until they changed the rule on the feet, we also had a whistle takedown, where we would come up and put the same foot on the line as our opponent had on the line, and then we would hit a low single from it. So we felt that if they were going to blow a whistle, no different than in track and field, if they were going to blow a whistle, there was a way to get an advantage when they blew that whistle. In the top position, we called it our bust. I know that there's a lot of different terms for it, but it's our first move on top, and we do 4 different things in the top position. And I'm not going to get into the breakdown because I'm going to spend most of the time in the bottom position. But our bust is designed to get the man heavy on his hands, which now takes away every move except for a tripod stand-up. He can't do a regular stand-up from here. He can't do a sit-out from here. He can't do a Granby from here. He can't really do a very good switch from here. So we try to take away his offense on bottom by getting him heavy on his hands. Our lineup is really, really critical here. And our guys, basically our wrestlers have this memorized. But everything's at 90 degrees, and we get on our opponent, and we hold them pretty tight because we like to almost glue ourselves to our opponent. What we do is we put our near knee down right next to his toe. Then we figure out where 90 degrees is here, but I dig my big toe, my back leg, I dig my big toe into the mat here before I get onto him because I want to get it in an exploding position. I was a football coach for 10 years at Augsburg also, and I was a defensive line coach, and I taught kids how to explode when they were on the line, and this reminds me a little bit of that. Now when we get on hard here, but when we get on the waist, the one thing that the referees allow us to do is to crunch a little bit. So when we get on, we don't just have a loose elbow here. I like to crunch a little bit here. As long as I'm on the navel, there's no rule against binding my opponent to me. So it looks a little bit like this. I get on, I'll come on the navel, but now I crunch here on my start. So I kind of glue him to me. Just like this as I get on. And I want to look the way I'm going. The first 3 busts that I'm going to go over quickly are all going forward, okay? The one I mentioned yesterday when I demonstrated the cradle series is elbow to lace, okay? So the referee would say, bottom man get set, top man take your position. I get on at 90 degrees ready to explode, and my first move on the whistle is right here. But I now have him heavy on his hands, and I have his lace. And if you notice, I'm always right on the whistle. I never touch my knees again. The only time that I'm on my knees is when the referee requires it at the start. Let's show it from this way. So again, bottom man gets set, top man come on, and if you look at me, I'm at 90 degrees now, ready to explode. And this is our first bust. We'll stay here for a second, then we'll go head on again. My second bust is the traditional chop bust. But he doesn't know whether I'm going lace or chop. And the pressure is going to be the same, and I line up the same. And again, it's just right here, except now I come here with my chop bust. Forward. And again, bottom man gets set, top man on. And if you notice, I'm hip to hip all the time. Look at my body position, and I'm always on my toes. If I can keep him on his knees and heavy on his hands, and I can get on my toes, he can't get away from me. There's no way that he can be quicker than me. And the third one is our spiral bust. And basically, a lot of people like to turn spirals this way, and sometimes they do it off the whistle, but we still want to take away their first move. So on the spiral bust, bottom man set, top man on. Again, I crunch here, but now what I'm going to do is I explode. It's coming right here. Now once I get him here, I might go a hard right angle, 90-degree angle to pick up a wrist. But I go forward to begin with. Again, our objective is to win the whistle, get him heavy on his hands, and absolutely take away his first move on bottom. I'll do that one more time. And again, our key, I see a lot of guys come and they put their laces on the mat, they get on opponents, they sometimes listen to the heartbeat. We don't believe in that. We believe in trying to, like I said, with like a track and field start, we believe in trying to win the whistle. Then I'll probably go this way, pick up the wrist, but always stay on my toes. That's about what I just wanted to be sure, since the session was called Winning the Whistle, that I covered that in the top position. Any questions on on those three busts before I move on? The last one is, we don't want to be too predictable. He doesn't know whether I'm going lace, chop, spiral, but I do like to change things up or have our guys change things up. And we might line up the exact same way, but we will also use a side bust. And the bottom man gets set. And all our side bust is right here. Instead of going forward, and this is the only one that we don't, but we come right here to the far lace, and then we dip our shoulder and just drive across. We kind of like this one because the referee gives you a lot of time to move up and, generally doesn't call you for stalling right away. So on the side bust again, I'm going to go to that far lace, but the real key is dipping this shoulder down to his hip. Far lace, here. And drive across. So sometimes we change things up because if we have multiple starts in a match, our opponent starts thinking, we're going forward, and sometimes we switch that up and we, element of surprise never hurts. Okay, on bottom. Winning the whistle on bottom, we feel is just as important as the way we started on top, digging our toes in, being able to drive forward 90 degrees tight, binding our opponent to us. On bottom, our position here, and we like to hide ankles a little bit. There's some teams that are real good if you dig in your ankles here. I don't think that there's any real advantage other than the straight kick out from here. I think I can do my stand-up equally as quick with my laces buried. So I like to sit back. Plus, when I'm here, I can't get my weight back as far as I can here. And I really like to have a low base and good position on bottom. So that's how I start my referee's position. Also, head up. When we start on the bottom, and I saw Mark Ironside do technique one time, and he talked about head up. The referee is allowing us to be in a position where they're saying bottom man gets set, but they're not really dictating to us what we can do. Bottom man set could be like this. You know, I like to keep fairly light on my hands. I don't think this ever gave me advantages. You know, some people like to dig in and then try to pop with their hands on the whistle. I like going real light. And I like trying to go as light as I can on my hands. I try to bow my back a little bit, because I can almost push my opponent away from me a little bit when I bow my back, and then I keep my head up. My theory is, if the referee is allowing you to get started, and my first move is going to be a stand-up, what do I do if the referee blows the whistle? The first thing I'm going to do anyhow is bring my head up. So why not just keep it there? Why not start there? I feel like I get like a little running start there. So when I do get ready on bottom before I hit my stand-up, I'm right here. Kind of light on my hands. There's some weight on there, you know, but I'm ready to go now. But my back's bowed and my head's up. So when he gets on me, because I see a lot of times when you're in the bottom position and the top man gets on you, you almost see the bottom man sag a little bit when the guy gets on. Well, if I have good position and Nick gets on me the same way again now, see, I keep him away from me. You know, he wasn't able to bring me back down. So I'm real tense when I begin my first move on bottom. Now my first move, and I'll do this without a partner, we do an inside power stand. We really emphasize inside power stand. Now we do an outside stand up. We'll do so my inside power stand, inside leg, quarter turn, and I'll get into more specifics there. My outside power stand, now I can't do the quarter turn, but it's here in case someone's giving me a hard time here. We also do a crossover tripod stand up, where a lot of guys like to chop. Well, I take the chop away from them. So if Nick was going to chop me on this side, I move here so he can't chop. I keep this elbow real close, but now I come out here to work my tripod stand-up. And those are the three basic stand-ups that we teach, and we make sure our guys know each one equally as well. We think the inside power stand-up is without a doubt the best one. The outside stand-up, if a guy catches your arm, the weakness to each of these, if on the outside stand-up, if he catches your arm, he can control you there, because I don't get that arm out as well on the outside. And of course, on the tripod stand-up, there's all sorts of things that they can do. They can get their hands together, they can pick up a leg. So even if I have a good crossover here and move, I'm fighting him a lot here when he's dropping on legs from the top position. But not every one of my guys is a great athlete, and some of my best guys that I've ever coached are tripod stand-up guys. Our guys also may have an inside power stand-up to this way, but if the guy rides here, they may have an outside stand-up. Sometimes we let them go with their power leg all the time. Other times it's always inside, but we know all of our the whole stand-up series from both sides, because guys can ride you from both sides. Okay, I'll stay. First move, we do this alone a lot, and all we do is we throw our arm. We want to get this arm away from being chopped on the whistle. I throw my arm either against my chin or lower neck, and my head's up already, and I'm going to take a quarter turn, so I'm going to put this foot in front of this knee, just like this. So what I'll normally do as a coach, all my athletes will be facing maybe the front of the room. I'll go over there and tell my athletes, I need to see your face. That's what a quarter turn's all about. And the idea is to keep him chasing me. Okay, so I'm coming just like this on my inside power stand, just like this. Okay, the whole idea when my opponent gets on is if I go straight ahead, number one, I got to get that foot way out there because he's going to be coming forward probably on me. But if I come straight here, he's still in pretty good position. If I do my quarter turn, when I hit this, now he's chasing me. Okay, and my hips are already getting away from him. So we like that quarter turn. The weakness to the inside power stand is the top man anticipating your inside power stand and getting two hands together on the way up. So the weakness to this maneuver is if I don't catch this hand right away and I come here, he's going to come here and try to return me back down to the mat. So what I need to do is throw, and this is a real key because it gets him off your arm. Throw, but now the catch is real important. And it's not palm up. We catch thumb down right here. We're always catching right here, trying to find, and we just find it, and then we'll move to the wrist. I might find an elbow, I might find a forearm, but I move to the wrist because I want to control that hand. So we throw, quarter turn, right here, just like this. And this is where I want to be. And we do break this maneuver down. We do it alone first. Then we get with partners. We just practice the quarter turn several times. Then we practice the quarter turn and catch. The next step is quarter turn, catch. Now we call this one-on-one. Okay, this is a cross hand one-on-one. This arm has to be straight. If this arm isn't straight, he's going to bring it right back in, grab his own hand. Now try to bring it back in. I got a lot of strength with a straight arm. Okay, that's just physiologically, I'm a lot stronger than he is if my arm's straight. As soon as I bend it, now he gets the advantage. So I got to keep this straight. I go one-on-one to two-on-one, right here. Okay, throw the arm real hard, quarter turn, catch, one-on-one, two-on-one. Right here. Notice my body position. 90 degrees, my hips are already away from my opponent, I'm ready to escape. The last part of this is, so I throw my arm hard, quarter turn, catch, one-on-one, two-on-one. Now I take the second hand and I put his hand in my far back pocket. So quarter turn, throw, catch, right here. Put his hand in my far back pocket. Look where my hips are going. Look at my position. Now I'm just about out, but this is the mistake that a lot of our guys, what a great stand-up. And I'm just about in the corner ready to, yes, we nailed it. Good job. And then they don't complete it. And when you don't complete it, what I mean by that is when we come here, the guys get lazy here and they let go here, try to turn around and get taken back down to the mat. They let the guy drop on them and pick up either a single or a double. So what we do here is when we're here, now we cut away and sprawl. We don't, and I always tell our guys, we don't need to look cool here. Cut away and sprawl. You don't need to have this and come here nonchalantly. That ain't cool. We want to do it right, so we're going to cut away and sprawl, even if he's 4 feet away from us. We want to get in the. We want to train them to be sure to know that that's what they're going to do. If you don't do that, they are going to drop on your legs. On our outside power stand, we do the same thing, except when I do this, I come here, okay? Not as much of a quarter turn, follow me a little bit better, but we just still do the same thing. So I still throw with the attempt to come here, but with my inside power stand, it always was like my elbow and my knee were connected. So it would follow as I went here. It's a little more difficult of a maneuver, I think, to do the outside power stand because you're throwing here and stepping here, and you got to step beyond 90 to anticipate him driving into you so you can push back. But then we do 2-on-1, 1-on-1, cut away and sprawl. So we like the cross hand. I'm leading up to something too, but we like the cross hand control. And with our tripod stand up, we do the same thing. We do the crossover. Now, we always say keep your butt clear. I never want him to be covering my butt. So keep your butt clear. But now here, as I talk about cross hand control, and we'll start here this time. So I do a changeover here so he can't chop me, because now he's chopping air. And now when I move my butt away, but right here, I come here. So before I start coming up, I keep my head up all the time. I come here. Same thing. 2-on-1, 1-on-1, back pocket, cutaway. Change over to a tripod stand-up, opposite hand control. Cut away to the arm. So I cut away here. I hit the switch side here. So when I'm here, I don't want to go that way. I'm cutting away to the only thing he has left. Right here. Okay? And then I hip heist on my cutaway. If I went the wrong way on it, so if I hit my inside power stand, came here, and then turned here, I don't get my hips out as well. That's what we do to win the whistle. From the top position, bottom position. I know we worked on that rather quickly, but I think you get the general idea of how important we think it is to win the whistle. Yes, sir. Sure. Sure. In fact, we call that our fish stand-up. We actually have guys that bait them. That'll sit here and give them this just so they can control hands and come here, or if he gives me pressure, come to the feet. So yes, if people grab your laces, you got to get your weight back. You got to get your weight way back. And we like to make sure that if we happen to get caught here, we make sure that we get our whole foot down here. You're in trouble on a lace if you don't get the whole foot down. If you're here, he's going to control you. Now pick up. He has a harder time controlling me if I get my whole foot down before I come. Winning the whistle is very important, but not always realistic. If that was the case, every time a whistle was blown, points would be scored in the first 5 seconds. Speaking of that, that's one of our philosophies. When I'm on the bottom position, number one, I want to win the whistle. Number two, I want to, if I don't have the right attitude, and I really believe, and I know this is a coach's cliche, and we hear it all over the place, but attitude is so critical, and I think attitude is more critical in the bottom position than anywhere else. I really think you have to almost teach your wrestlers to be claustrophobic. The way we do that is we do a ton of 15-second goes, where they need to get away in 15 seconds. And so that the winning the whistle becomes really important then. However, we're not always successful with that first move. We might get caught, we might get mat returned. Then we So as we develop this philosophy, we need to understand what good position is then. So if I don't win the whistle and get away right away, I need to know that I need to stay in good position. Good position for us is head up. Head up no matter where you are on the mat. Wrestlers have never been successful with a head down philosophy. Your head should be up in all wrestling positions. Your butt generally is down. Okay? This is okay. I actually like to even get further down if I'm really trying to work a good bottom position. I use my sole against the inside of my thigh. In fact, my heel is right in my crotch here, but I like to close up my angles. Head up, butt down, without a doubt, elbows in. Elbows out doesn't help us on the feet, and it doesn't help us underneath either. Head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. That can be in a stance. You know, head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. It might be when I have a single leg. Head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. It's in the bottom position. Head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. And we say that all the time. All the time. Head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. We'll do stance drills at the end of practice. I don't believe in just, I believe in warm-ups that have wrestling skills in them, warm-downs that use wrestling skills, running around in circles. If I want to train my guys in cardiovascular, I'll bring them outside, I'll bring them on the track, I'll train them that way. But when we're doing physical exercises for conditioning, we use wrestling skills all the time. And that's one of the things that our guys will walk around the wrestling room saying, head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. In the bottom position, that's real important. So the worst place to be is on the back. The second worst place in wrestling to be is on your stomach right here. And so I need to, right here, before I have to start breaking maneuvers, if I get here, I need to know what good position is. Good position for me still is head up. And the back of my head is going to find his head all the time. I'm not going to let him. This guy's an armbar guy, and he was really good at it. If I go here, he's going to pick up wrists like mad. I can keep him away from my wrists with my head and also keeping my arms here. I wrestle off my elbows. My hands are in karate chop fashion here. You know, I'm here. I'm not here because he'll pick it up. I really need to stay out here and know what he's going to do. And actually, attitude, position on bottom, and also knowing what your opponent is looking for are three real keys to wrestling. So what we're going to do, we call it wrestling off your elbows. Go ahead and get on top. Belly button off the mat. Right now, my belly button's off the mat. The thing that's, you know, my groin is touching here, but my belly button's off the mat. My head's up, working here. I just take whatever side he's on, because most guys like to straddle a side. He's straddling my left side. And now what I do, the weakness to this maneuver is this hand. So I got to be real careful. So as I slide my left leg through, I'm going to push off, but I'm also going to push his head back at the same time so I can go like this. Because if I'd have stayed there too long, I'd have got in trouble. We really like to move our inside legs through. We think that's so critical to our success. And some guys are successful doing whatever. They throw technique out the window, but you still can't ride them. That's because they have the best attitude. You know, some guys don't have that kind of attitude, and they need a little help, especially need help with technique. And if we make a mistake and end up here, and mind you, we don't encourage being here very long, but we wrestle off our elbows, hands in front of us so we can see them. I actually can see my elbow bend right here, okay? That's kind of important, because if it's too far back, he might pull, or if it's too far back, he's just going to reach there. So you have to find out where your elbows should be that he cannot pick up a wrist, and also you work your head. And then what I'm going to do is as I push back on him, that's when I slide this leg through and come here. Head up, butt down, elbows in, not yet, but I'll get there, and knees bent, ready to go. From here, we have a rule in our wrestling room. Stay there, Nick. We never, it's illegal. And every once in a while I'll walk into wrestling practice and I'll say, we need to cover some NCAA rules. I'll open up the rule book to any page and I'll say, NCAA rule book says that when you're in the bottom position, if you grab the hand on the waist, it's 1 point for your opponent. You know, and they're like, and then all of a sudden it's Swenson again, you know. But, you know, we don't let them go here. As soon as I go here, this is what they do. As soon as I grab a hand on the waist, that's what they do. Okay, so we do what's called, we call it cup and cover. I'm sure it's called all, it's cross hand control, but it's, I don't hold on to the hand. In fact, Nick's looking for wrists right now, so I got to keep my hands free, and it's a cat and mouse game. But all I'm going to do is push this, come here, and now I'm going to come, look at this. So from made a mistake, got here, got myself in trouble on my belly. Okay, remember to wrestle off your elbows. A good rule of thumb is, if I'm on my chest, I'm in trouble. If I'm on my ribs, I'm in trouble. You got to wrestle where your belly button's off the mat. You know, from here, as I'm going to use my head, I'm going to find his head. Now, if his head, if he's not a good rider and he's low, this is easy. He doesn't have a prayer. The only guys that have a good chance of riding us are guys that have their head higher than our head, which, of course, brings us to another issue with good riders. Generally ride pretty high. So when he's high, I need to find his head, push it away, come here, okay, right here, just inside control. Okay, that's great, but what happens if guy's got a 2-on-1? Okay, guy has a 2-on-1 here, and I've coached before, and I'm sitting in the corner, and my wrestlers giving me those puppy dog eyes, like, what do I do now? You know, I can't get away. Number one, we keep working the head, and when I work the head, I try to come in here, and I know some guys like to do this pry thing, but I always felt like that was giving them another wrist. What we like to do is called a scrape. We scrape here, and then we inside out our thumb, keeping the head up to free our wrists. That's one way we break the 2-on-1. Well, that's great till you wrestle a guy like this, and he gets this 2-on-1 here. Okay, now I still work my head, but now I believe top wrestlers, good top wrestlers, are always driving forward. So for me, to try to go away from them, I'm just tightening the grip. What I want to do is back into them, wrestle off my elbows and my hands until I can get to a point that I can scrape and clear. So that's how we fight a 2-on-1. I don't worry about a 2-on-1 as much as a 1-on-1, and then there's one more wrist hold that's even worse than that. But a 1-on-1 cross wrist, it's becoming a fairly popular move. 1-on-1 cross wrist here, and up here it's okay. Again, the same thing. Push his head away, scrape, get your hands free. But when he's got it down at the belly, this gets tough. But it's the same general philosophy. We're pushing back into the guy until I can clear, until I have room to scrape, thumbs, wrist. This time I'll come with that leg through because he was on that side, cup and cover, and come up. The one that we struggle with, and it's a little bit of a grunt move. I mean, you gotta really be you got to kind of work everything at once and have a fair. You have to be average strength. You can't be a wimp for your weight. It's that one-on-one, which, by the way, is on my bad arm, Nick. So, but go ahead and crank a little bit. This is the one where you feel like guys can stay on it forever, and you know you generally the problem right away. If you're coaching bottom wrestling, the easiest thing to say, no matter what, you're in the corner, your guy's down. If you say head up, that's great coaching. You've already done your job in the corner because you have to have your head up. If I'm here, he's gonna hammer on me. I don't want him to pull it out, so I definitely need to make sure that I grab my hip bone. I don't want this one-on-one pulled out. Now I don't have a lot of answers once that arm gets behind my back, other than get out of bounds. So from here, I want to make sure I keep my elbow in, but he can crank on it as much as he wants here. Now what I do from here, head up, I plant this hand here, and I start, and then I'm going to try to sit through here, but I'm going to keep using this hand to come out here and sit. And it's not an easy maneuver. We struggle with it a lot, but our hand really helps us. And the emphasis on getting our head as high as we can as we're fighting that near side one-on-one wrist has really helped us. So he's here. Okay, go ahead and crank a little bit more. And I'm here now. So I'm here now. I'm going to plant here, and now I'm good. We don't do sit-outs. We don't do many sit-outs. We get into a switch, but our switch is just a complement. We don't do a sitting switch, but our switch is a complement to our inside power stand-up. So if this hand happens to come too deep on my waist when I hit my inside power stand right here, now we hit a switch here. It might come in here. Excuse me? Yeah. Occasionally we'll brace. Actually, that's a good point. Occasionally, we might hit a stand-up a few times, and Nick's just nailing me on it, and we might have tried going outside, or we might have tried going tripod, and we've had a few starts. But occasionally, winning the whistle, if he's quicker than us, occasionally winning the whistle is just having a good base after the whistle. And that might look like something like this. And this is actually is a good maneuver for us. So off the whistle, all I want to do is close up my angles. So I'm going to just come here, and I'm going to start working here, just like this. Now I'll start working hands and work out. So I knew that if I tried an inside power stand off the whistle, Nick's more powerful than I. As soon as I come up, he was nailing me with this. So. We number things, so when we're in the corner, we'll give things a number. Our guys will know whether that means to go inside stand up, outside stand up, tripod, so we'll give them the number for, close up your angles and work your cup and cover series. And our cup and cover series is basically, we close up our angles here, we get our weight way back, head up, and now he could be under here. And this is a drill that we use very often where we go cross-hand control. We call it cup and cover, but we're here, and we only need to get one in. Notice when I'm here, I'm still here. Because what happens if I go like this and put this on my waist, he's just going to grab that. So we'll go something like this, we'll go like this, then he comes underneath. So we're just constantly working, keeping one elbow inside. The real key to getting away underneath is you have to have one elbow inside. The kids that fight a little bit, now some kids, and I saw it in St. Louis, and I thought, wow, those guys are really talented. I would see guys, and they could literally get both hands. That's all they were looking for. I saw guys, and I wouldn't recommend this, maybe when you're working with superb athletes, like Division I athletes, it works, but I saw guys here, and they would just make sure they got the hands, and they would pretty much just walk out. You know, that's awesome. That's great hand control. I wish I could coach one of them guys, because when I coach my guys, that doesn't work. When we do that, we're flat on our face. We got our arms back here. They got all of we're tied up like spaghetti, and it just hasn't worked for us there. But that doesn't mean that it's not good. I think when you're a wrestler, you need to focus on the things that you do best. I hated for him to ever get that far. Are you talking about this, where they're starting to run the bar? He's running the bar this way. Come, and then you sit through here. Oh, I gotcha. So here, yeah, I think this would work. Yeah. No, we don't teach it. Generally, we don't get many guys there. I think by keeping our hands out, well, we don't get a lot of guys that get barred up. But I like that. You know, as I felt it. Actually, I learned something today. You were supposed to learn from me, but I learned from you. Because I do like this, because I think if you get that inside hip down, it's harder on Nick. I think you still got a post here. But now when you come here, all the pressure comes off.
Thank you for watching this video from the Dan Gable ASICS Wrestling Clinic DVD series. For information on more Championship Productions videos and clinics, please visit the website on your screen. A special thanks to ASICS and 72 Olympic coach Bill Farrell for their sponsorship of this clinic.